wondering how I got into this mix. Mind playing tricks.
This is Derek Bros with the Conscious Resistance Network. Today is Friday, July 15th, 2016, and this is a new thing I'm going to try out, a quick news wrap-up of my most important articles I've written in the last week or so. So I'll try to keep this short and sweet. Thank you guys for watching this. If you're watching this on Facebook, please subscribe to the Conscious Resistance Network. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and please visit theconsciousresistance.com to check out lots of great content we've got there. So let's dive in. This is an article I wrote for Activist Post recently called, "Is the CIA Manipulating the Weather?" Now, to those of you who that sounds like a crazy title, please continue to read, don't just step away, because in a recent speech, the director of the Central Intelligence Agency discussed the controversial topic of geoengineering, and this has led some activists, including myself, to ask whether or not the agency is already actively and deliberately modifying the weather. In late June, John Brennan, director of the CIA, spoke at the Council on Foreign Relations about threats to global security. He mentioned a number of threats to stability before discussing the science of geoengineering. He said the technologies, quote, potentially could help reverse the warming effects of global climate change. There's a video right here if you want to see John Brennan's conversation on geoengineering at 12 minutes and 5 seconds. Now, for those of you who are new, geoengineering is, according to a 2013 congressional report, an array of technologies that aim through large-scale and deliberate modification of the Earth's energy balance to reduce temperatures and counteract anthropogenic climate change. So basically, it's a number of different methods that can alter the weather and the climate. This includes carbon dioxide removal methods or solar radiation management, SRM, also known as albedo modification methods. So those are the two most common methods, and solar radiation methods includes being able to spray aerosols out of planes, which is sometimes linked to the so-called chemtrails conspiracy, where individuals believe that geoengineering is already taking place and that it is not to stop climate change, but it is in fact for some other nefarious purpose, whether population control or maybe they really do want to stop the climate change, but they're just mad scientists. Whatever you think about it, the truth of the matter is that geoengineering is a reality, weather modification is a reality, and the director of the CIA has talked about this. I also list several studies that have shown the problems associated with geoengineering, why man should not play God and try to start altering the weather because there are some disastrous consequences. Read that there. Read the history of U.S. and global weather modification. It's all in this article for you to read. And one other thing I want to mention, the reason that John Brennan talking about this, the reason the CIA mentioning weather modification is important and is relevant, because just earlier last year in February 2015, a professor of climate change, Alan Robach, was speaking at the American Association for the Advancement of Science in San Jose, California, and he discussed the possibility that the CIA is already using the weather as a weapon. And he is well known for doing research on the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, and he stated that he was phoned by two men claiming to be from the CIA asking him about geoengineering. Is there any truth to this? We don't know yet, but now we are asking, is the CIA manipulating the weather? Now also, another big piece of news this past week, this Tuesday, Senator Bernie Sanders, Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders, officially endorsed Hillary Clinton, and myself and others have been talking about this for quite some time. We've talked about problems with Bernie and really tried to be critical of him, not because we just hate him because he says he's a socialist, but because we thought there was maybe, something more going on than what was being seen. And now it comes to a conclusion where myself and others have said for a while Bernie Sanders would end up endorsing Hillary Clinton. He said, "I have come here to make it as clear as possible as to why I am endorsing Hillary Clinton and why she must become our next president." In this short video, I offer some solutions and some hope to Bernie Sanders supporters. So if you're a Bernie Sanders supporter, please watch this video. If you have friends and family who support Bernie Sanders and who are feeling upset and maybe they're thinking about voting for Hillary Clinton or voting for Trump or just giving up and going back to doing nothing, please show them this video and encourage them to continue their fight, their hope for revolution, and to realize that it's not going to come through the political systems. There are other methods to seek change. Another big story that I'm working on today, I'm writing my own version of this article to give you more information, because as you know, the mainstream news, Deadstream, does not provide you with all the details. Sometimes they provide you with, here's this fact, here's what happened, but they don't give you the full spectrum, which is what I try to do. But this is important to note. A federal judge has thrown out a cell phone stingray case, the evidence in the case. This is a first. Now, the Stingray cell phone surveillance is something I've covered extensively. If you're unaware, I'll post some links below for you to get caught up. But briefly, it's a device that can be used to gather all the contents of your cell phone. And they're getting stronger, they're getting more technologically advanced, and the federal government, the local police are being very secretive about how they are being used. They have non-disclosure agreements, so it's a whole range of secrecy, and it's very dangerous. But this past week, for the first time, a federal judge suppressed evidence obtained without a warrant by the U.S. law enforcement using a Stingray. U.S. District Judge William Pauley in Manhattan on Tuesday ruled that defendant Raymond Lambis' rights were violated when the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration used such a device without a warrant to find his Washington Heights apartment. This is commonplace now. All major cities and even smaller cities that you wouldn't expect to have these type of military equipment are getting Stingrays, hailstorms. They're called by a number of different names. They're known as cell site simulators. Do some research on them. Search cell site simulator and my last name and you'll find tons of articles. But they're using these without warrants. And in the end, maybe this will come back to help the people, because this case, eventually the Stingrays are going to make it to the Supreme Court and there will be a decision made. So stay tuned to that and protect yourself. Turn your phone off, take out the battery when you don't need it on. It's just for your own protection. Because remember, if you don't have privacy, you really aren't free. Another thing that set the world ablaze this week was the Pokemon Go sensation that I am just not even really going to dive into, other than to say, guys, I wrote an article called "Will Pokemon Go Be Used to Catch Us All?" And I don't think I've ever got as much disgust, or not hate necessarily, but just some aggravation, from Pokemon lovers who are like, wait, did you actually play the game? Then you can't speak on it. But if you read the article, you'll see that it's clear in the terms of service, like many different devices, in the privacy policy, that the makers of Pokemon Go are getting access to all sorts of information on your phone and in your device, and they're able to share it with third parties, including government agencies and other institutions. And you're also going around and basically doing mapping of the entire world using your cell phone and your camera there, and you're mapping the world around you. You're collecting data, imagery, physical features, geographic references about the Earth, and that's being scooped up by all sorts of agencies. So you're doing the dirty work for them. We're kind of self-policing, self-reporting. But if it's a fun game, then do what you must, but be aware while you do it. Now, last two items, and then I'll let you guys go for today. Thank you for your patience. I just wanted to bring you these important topics. Rather than doing a separate video on each of these, I figured I could hit you with the quick points and you could decide what's most important and if you want to go further. Now, the two things I really do want to focus on for a moment is the fact that today, Friday, July 15th, at some point, maybe by the time you're reading this article, the 28 pages of the Senate report on 9/11 are supposed to be released after 13 years of secrecy and much fighting from the Obama administration and other government officials. That's the news we have, is that CNN and The Hill and other agencies are reporting, yes, indeed, that the report will be published for the public via Congress. This was confirmed by Representative Adam Schiff, a member of the House Intelligence Committee. So this article just goes deeper into the whole saga of the last few years, what the 28 pages are, why you should know about them, why you should realize that there are questions. And I just want to sort of read this last couple paragraphs to you so you get the gist of what I'm saying here with this article, because the article is titled, "The 28 pages will be released, but will the truth be set free? I have my doubts. While there are clear ties to Saudi Arabia, many in the 9/11 truth movement are cautious of the 28 pages, with some calling the whole fiasco a psychological operation being conducted on the American people. What is the purpose of this alleged psyop? The idea would be that the powers that wish they were allow a controlled release of the low-hanging fruit, the 28 pages, and focus attention on Saudi Arabia rather than possible connections to the U.S. government, Pakistan, or Israel. This allows the public and also some 9/11 researchers to feel like there's been a victory and now go back to normal life. Also, this will keep the conversation on the 28 pages and not on the other anomalies which occurred on September 11, 2001. And there's also the fact that this has been public record for many years that the majority of the alleged hijackers had ties to Saudi Arabia. So are they really providing us with anything new? I think we should celebrate this fact that 9/11 is in the mainstream, it's being talked about, and these 28 pages being released could be a big thing. But not for a moment should we believe that we have the whole story. We're approaching the 15th anniversary of 9/11, and there's still much truth to be fought for. So I ask that you stay vigilant, keep fighting for truth, and when these 28 pages are released, use it as an opportunity to talk about 9/11 and talk about the questions that remain about 9/11, but don't believe that we actually have all the truth. And if you can, come to New York this year for events. Check out groundzero911.com for more details on that. And our final story for today has to do with a bill that was just passed by the House of Representatives yesterday and was passed by the Senate last week and now waits to be signed by President Obama. And this is in relation to a GMO labeling bill. GMO, genetically modified organisms, genetically modified food, genetically engineered food. This is what we're talking about. So this bill is being pushed as I said, they're calling it a labeling bill. So this puts in mind the people who fought, to march against Monsanto and who were worried about what was in their food. They're like, oh wow, they're passing a labeling bill. This means success. We've achieved something. We've done what we were looking for, right? Not so fast. When you actually pay attention to this bill, what it does is it prevents states and localities from passing their own bills, which could be different from what the federal government wants, because your local environment and your local community needs are going to be much different than some national monopoly uniform standard, one-size-fits-all type model. Vermont passed a bill last year and it recently went into effect July 1st, 2016. This bill being passed by the federal government is a direct assault on Vermont states' rights, and they want to avoid, quote, a patchwork of legislation that they say will confuse the consumer. So they're telling you that in order to keep you from being confused and allow you to have labeling, we're going to stop the states from being able to do it, and we're going to create a new uniform national disclosure standard for human food that is or may be bioengineered. And this will be headed up by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And if that concerns you, then you're right to be concerned, because why should we trust the federal government, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and other agencies of the government who have close ties with the biotech industries such as Monsanto, Syngenta, and a lot of these same companies that make the genetically modified, genetically engineered food? Why should we trust them when they say that they're going to create this uniform standard? Already we're seeing problems with the language in this bill. For example, the bill will allow text on a package, a symbol, or a link to a website via a QR code or similar technology. So what some critics are saying is that this is going to completely confuse people. This is also going to be discriminating against low-income and elderly populations who may not have access to the internet or a smartphone. I don't use a smartphone. I choose not to spend my money that way and be involved in that. So if I have to go to the store and there's QR codes on food that I need to scan in order to find out what's in my food, then it's completely useless to me. So please check out this article, see more of the details about the bill. And as I've been saying, I don't know what to tell you. Is there a real answer telling you that you should call your senators and email them and your representatives and that they'll be ready to do something about it? It doesn't really make me feel good, because I don't trust that. I don't believe that that's really what's happening. I don't think they're going to listen to you guys. Maybe there are some people out there trying to fight against this, but overwhelmingly the corporate state is so intertwined that we really can't break it free. So if you're trying to fight against big ag and the biotech giants, the best way to do this, extreme localization and creation of local food production. This is what is possible, and it's going to be inevitable for anyone who truly seeks to be food independent. And obviously, if you don't eat, you can't survive. We need to know what's in our food. We need to grow our own food. Remember, the revolution is growing and resistance is fertile. We can take care of this all on our own. Those are the stories I got for you guys. I hope that was a quick enough news update for you. I tried to keep it under 5 to 10 minutes, and I'll do this maybe on a weekly basis to keep you updated. Let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed this, if I should continue this, and please subscribe to our channel, to our Facebook. Check out theconsciousresistance.com. Remember, you are powerful, you are beautiful, you are free. Peace.